hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard, and I think that's like, yeah, totally true. I'm Ollie, I'm a tattoo apprentice in Newquay, and I work at Electric Rainbow Tattoo. I've always like, if I get into something, like, I guess I get kind of obsessed with stuff. So like, I've played guitar for like most of my life, and I went to university for that. And I just, if I love something, like if I love doing something, I'll just like, you know, I've got like tunnel vision for it, and I just like go down the deepest of rabbit holes on like everything that I'm super into. So like I was working in a job that like a 9 to 5 that I didn't enjoy, I should say, and then I was on furlough, like you know, I had loads of time off, and I just decided to start drawing again because it was something that I did when I was in school, and yeah, man, I just, you know, I wanted to do something cool for my life because I was like 25 at the time, and I was like, I don't want to work in a shoe shop for the rest of my life. Getting a tattoo apprenticeship it's tricky, at least in my experience, like being in Cornwall, because like there's not a huge amount of shops down here, at least I wasn't aware of when I was looking, and because I lived in Brighton for 5 years and I moved back down here in like 2018, so I was only here for like a year and a half until I kind of started thinking about wanting to do tattooing, and a lot changed in those 5 years. But just honestly, like I never ever made like a physical portfolio. I just had Instagram, and just I would just like, you know, follow people like tattooers from around here, go and get tattooed by people in Plymouth and in Newquay, and yeah, and then Matt, my boss, my mentor, he just randomly messaged me out of the blue one day and was like, if you want an apprenticeship, do like XYZ things, and I was like, okay, so can I come and get a tattoo from you? And kind of, he basically just told me to be persistent with what I do and just like paint loads and all this kind of stuff, and I basically just kind of applied that advice to just kind of pestering him to give me an apprenticeship. So that's how I did it, but it can like some people take years to get an apprenticeship, you know, but I was pretty lucky, man. Like I literally started drawing again after 10 years in 2020. So within like what, like a year and a half ish, like I had an apprenticeship, which like I know is like ridiculously fast. So, or at least I think it is anyway. This was the first thing I ever drew, not ever drew, but the 20th of July 2020, I drew my glasses. And yeah, and I couldn't draw, man. Like I literally, I'm still not the best drawer. I don't have any problem admitting that, do you know what I mean? Like, so for me, it was definitely more hard work. Like I was literally drawing like 8 hours a day for well, the best part of a year, just like 8, 10 hours, 12 hours a day, like in lockdown, because I could, obviously. When I went back to work, it was a bit less, but I mean, I feel like, because I'd like absolutely gone turbo for like 6 months, I kind of, you know, had made enough progress to kind of stick with it, you know what I mean? At the moment, I guess I'm just doing like American traditional, like flash, because I've only been tattooing for 4 months, so I'm still like super new to it. Just like palm-sized designs, but my paintings, I would consider them to be like European traditional, if you want to give it a name. So like, I'm influenced by a lot of the like old English dudes or like German guys and stuff from 100 odd years ago, and like thinner lines, you can see it up here, like thinner lines, a lot of black, like pretty minimal like color palette, you know, like green, red, yellow, pretty much it, man. Like nothing, no bells and whistles or anything, you know. Pretty simple. So my process would be from drawing it, you know, I'll either trace something, like find something I really like, and then either, you know, straight up copy it if it's, you know, copyable, I guess, or do my own version of it, or just completely draw something from scratch, and then draw on the iPad. Then I print it out onto just like normal ass paper, and then then I'll use a light box and trace it onto the watercolor paper I use. I paint with liquid acrylic, so I use like FW or Liquitex a lot, and I spit shade, so I use my like saliva to blend out the colors, which is kind of grim actually when you think about it, but it's, you know, I guess it's like the traditional way to do it. And I'm a huge nerd, like I'm like a huge loser, like I would try and do everything like as close to how things were done like back in the day if I can, just because I'm just like a massive nerd for the history. To bring it back to painting, I just, you know, researched, like, because I had a pretty hard time like getting into it, to be honest, because I'd see like all these amazing tattoo artists like put out these like crazy paintings and stuff, and I didn't know how, like what they were like paint they were using and stuff, and I was like, because I wanted to do that, I wanted to be like that good, so I would literally just spend like I'd be there at night like googling like, you know, what like water, because I use watercolors for ages and stuff, but I just don't think they look as good. I'm sure a lot of people will like fight me on that, but like I think acrylic just looks way better. Like it looks, in my opinion, just looks way more like professional, you know what I mean? I remember going to my local art shop and buying like 5 FW inks, like 2 greens, like a yellow, red and a black, and I bought like some like really cheap watercolor paper, and I remember going home and like trying to spit shade, and it was just like, it just wouldn't work, and I was so like disheartened. I was like, nah, this is really bad. It probably took me like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 months, because I just went through like this huge, like, I went on this massive rabbit hole of like finding what paper I liked and like understanding. I didn't even know what like hot press and cold press and stuff meant. I literally had I hadn't done anything artistic for like 10 years, so I literally had absolutely no idea about anything. So when I kind of got to grips with what I was using, then I would just honestly like copy, like I'd see someone that did like a cool like dragon like scales or like a pattern on a snake, and I'd just be like, I'm just gonna do my own version of that. It basically comes back to trying to make my stuff look different to everyone else's. And same with the stain, like I stain my stuff because the stain imitates like I guess how they used to varnish their paintings and stuff like back in the day. I did used to varnish stuff as well, but it's just too messy, and it's a bit of a faff, to be honest, so I just stick to the staining. But same thing, man, I used to use coffee, then I started using like mixing ink with coffee, and then I just use ink diluted with water, and to get that kind of coffee stain like kind of effect. And it's funny actually, the one thing that I get asked the most on Instagram is what I stain with. Like I honestly must get like at least one person a week saying, hey man, like what do you use to stain? And it's just like, I literally just put ink and water, but I guess you wouldn't know. Like, I guess I was that guy. Like the amount of times I'd message tattooers and be like, hey man, or when I've been getting tattooed and I've been like, hey man, like what do you use for this? And they, you know what I mean? So I really appreciated like people helping me out. So I actually have like a highlight story on my Instagram of like every material that I use. For my style, so like the process would be arrange an appointment, and then they'll come in, and yeah man, it's super easy, man. And if it's a walk-in, I don't really do walk-ins at the moment, but they'll come in the shop, they'll speak to my boss and be like, hey man, I'm looking to get like, you know, an infinity symbol on my wrist or something. and he'll talk me through like what placement's best, like what placements won't work. Like a lot of people want them on like the insides of their fingers and like on here and stuff, and it's just like probably won't last as well. And so to someone who doesn't know anything about how tattoos age, because you don't want someone like after like 6 months to be like, oh dude, this guy sucks because he tattooed my like, I don't know, sole of my foot and it's fallen out. It's like, yeah, obviously. Like people come in and they want like, you know, like a realistic road like this big, and it's just like, that's just never gonna work. Like I'm sure there's a lot of like more modern tattooers that would probably be like, oh word, you can do that. It's like, yeah, I'm sure some people can, but like I wouldn't do it. you know what I mean? If you want like a dragon with like 1,000,000 scales, but you get it on your back, like that can work. But if you want it this big on like your arm, and you want it to be like as detailed as like what someone would get on their back, I mean, you could do it, but it just might not look great for like, you know, forever. Like in 10 years time, it might just look like a sausage on your arm. You know, I don't think tattoos really need to have a meaning. Like I don't think I thought I've got one, I guess, like meaningful tattoo, and it's just a V on my finger because I'm vegan. So, but other than that, man, it's just like they look cool. So that's, to me, like I'd rather have something that has no meaning and looks sick for like 60 years than something that looks like it's got way too many ideas going on just because it means something to me about like whatever, and it's just not a very good tattoo. Like it's better to have, in my opinion, like for me, I know it's like a really talked about thing, but I think for me, like my girlfriend has tattooed my ankle, and she's like the first time she's ever touched a tattoo machine, and she like literally just freehanded this little bird like outline on my ankle, and that is like that's got like way more meaning to me than like any of my other tattoos, because it's just like stupid and funny. Like I have the Dr. Pepper logo tattooed on my ankle because I like Dr. Pepper. Like I think that's like more than enough of a good reason to get a stupid tattoo, because you can get really deep into it, but like for me it's just like they look cool, man. Yeah, basically. Like I'm really lucky that I'm apprenticing in Newquay, because there's some like amazing shops around here, and there's also Ginger Phil. Everyone knows who Ginger Phil is. He works in Newquay, so just coincidentally, the day I did my first ever tattoo on someone else, he just happened to like pop in the shop, and it was really cool for him to kind of, you know, say hello, I guess, to like, you know, I was like, oh my god, like, you know, take that bit out. He'll rip me if I, yeah. But it's super cool when tattooers, like, you know, I guess like give you a bit of skin to practice on, and also just my friends. Like I've got one of my friends has like, I think I've tattooed him like 8 times, which on his, just down his legs and stuff. So like, that's pretty rad. Like I still don't think I really have my own style yet. Like I'm definitely like, I feel like I'm still on like a journey, as cringe as that sounds, to like, you know, I want to have my paintings and my tattoos, and if someone saw it, they'd know it was mine. But I don't think I'm there yet at all. So like, to get there, I will just refine my designs, and you know, I want to be able to tattoo how I paint eventually, which I know is going to take a long time. But like, yeah, I want to be able to replicate some of the stuff that I paint. Like there's a Sutherland McDonald dragon that I painted like last year, this one here, and I was like super stoked on it when I did it. And if I could ever tattoo that on someone, like a back piece or something, I would be like beyond like happy with myself. So it's just practice, man. Like yeah, I'll get there, you know. I have like faith that I'll do it, you know. So because I got there with the painting. Like I went from being like absolutely terrible at painting to being able to like paint that like within a couple of years. So like by that logic, I should like be able to eventually tattoo it as well. If you're thinking about coming and getting tattooed by me, just message me on Instagram, and then I'll fit you in, because you know I want to do tattoos. So yeah.